the game can see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live.
I ain't gonna work. But we could go evil laugh, Ken. You know why? Because it's like, you know, you have the last laugh.
I got one.
There you go.
Can't handle the truth.
Talk to us, Mr. Porter. How are you feeling? WBC trainer too now. Got the champ.
Got the trainer belt.
Trainer belt going on.
Listen, man, you guys have no clue what a trainer has to go through to get a guy just up them steps, man. And you guys have no clue. Y'all turn on y'all computer and you think you can start talking about it and you have some kind of understanding. You have no clue what we have to go through to get these guys to perform, to compete.
Talk us through it.
Can't talk you through it, dude. You wasn't there in 1992 when I first took him to the gym. When he couldn't fit boxing shorts, so I had to put pajamas on him. You weren't there. I can't talk you through that. There's no way I could talk you through the first time I took him to a tournament and I didn't have a car, so I had to catch a Greyhound. Can't talk you through that.
So you're saying all those tough times and all those hardships.
No one else has ever put a pair of gloves on Sean Porter for a boxing match except me. From the first time he started to the day that he just beat Danny Garcia, no one else has ever put a pair of boxing gloves on Sean Porter but me. That means I started somebody from the scratch to where they are right now. And that means I took on every responsibility in every situation and every circumstance that he dealt with in his life. So if you could consider your life and someone taking on all your problems and all your responsibilities and everything that you had to deal with to this point in his life, that's been my job. But
so basically you must be pretty fucking proud right now.
No, it's ongoing. It don't stop. It don't stop. It's what's expected. He expects me to do this, and God wanted me to do this, so I do it because I love my son. I don't do it for any other reason. But you know, it's not just as easy as y'all think it is. And you know, the guy that we just fought the other night, great fighter. I'm looking for the next great fighter, Errol Spence, the next great fighter, Bud Crawford. I want my kid to fight all those guys.
So Ken, can you speak on the fight last night? Did you ever think that the fight was not going in Sean's direction? Because there was a little exchange over in the corner where you guys were going back and forth, and we heard a little bit of it. But can you give us like a little bit more insight to what was going on?
Who am I speaking with, please?
My name is Michael Gross, Gross.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
The pleasure is all mine, sir.
When you say back and forth, for the most part in that particular fight, I noticed if I take myself out of the situation, I mean, if I go back and watch it on TV, which I haven't and won't for a while, but if I go back and watch it on TV, I might see something different. But for the most part, as I recall, just a little more than or less than 24 hours ago, the coaching in the corner was pretty calm. There was a point where I felt that I needed to put a sense of urgency into my son. And the reason for that was it's been such a long time since I asked him to box the way he was boxing the other night that he was kind of getting too relaxed in that mode. And it took us a good 6-8 weeks to get him in that mode. So for the last 6-8 weeks, I've actually been holding Sean back from being aggressive. So it got to a point where I realized, wait a minute, he's not giving me the aggression that I need. And so there was that moment. I do recall, I guess I've seen a couple of clips on it. on the Instagram and things like that. I recall when I told him that I had did everything I was supposed to do to get you here. Now you got to do what you're supposed to do to win this fight. So my preparation was tremendous, and he followed through with everything I asked him to do. But now I needed him to put it all together on fight night. So that's what was going on right there. I felt that because of the way we had trained to prepare for the fight and certain strategy we were using, that it was taken away from him being aggressive.
I speak of
Now,
the way you guys came out and like started training. Like this probably was the best Sean Porter that I've seen in recent memory. Can you speak on like the game plan you guys were like trying to come out with? Because Sean was like not really pushing the issue that much, but he still was being aggressive and he still was working off his jab. So it was a different Sean Porter that I've seen.
Yeah, it's going to be a different Sean Porter than you see, but I mean, that's because you guys, everything we do is fight specific. So depending upon who we fight, we're going to do different things. And this particular fight, I can relate it to Adrian Broner, where Sean was boxing more because we knew that Broner was not confident. And we knew if we got after him that, it might make it harder for us. We wanted him to get some level of confidence so that he could maybe exchange with us. I think with Danny, our strategy was to do a lot of different things that we do well and he doesn't. Accent our positives and they will become negatives for him. I'm quite sure if you go back and look at it, you're going to find out we actually counterpunched more than Danny did. There were times where we made Danny throw punches and we countered him. And he's supposed to be the counterpuncher. But, Sean has the ability to do it. If we work on it and we apply it, he can't do it. So he did it last night. As far as this being the best Sean Porter you've seen, I think you probably just seeing something different. So therefore you think it's the best. But I'll go ahead and let you guys know, since nobody knew. This was nowhere near the best of Sean Porter. This was probably about 80 to 85% of Sean Porter. Sean Porter just got cleared to use his left hand 2 weeks ago. His hand has been broke this entire camp.
What?
This entire camp. We could not use our left hand the whole camp. So for the people who have no clue or look and see different things or think they know what's going on, dude, I just trained a kid with one hand for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And we won a championship. We didn't let our hand go into the night of the fight.
Now, Ken, I got to ask you a question about a rule the WBC is trying to put into to play about keeping families out of the corner. Like, in my personal opinion, if they did that, then we might not get Sean Porter and Danny Garcia last night because both of the trainers are dads. And like you said, we went there in 1992 when y'all guys started this journey. So how do you feel about the WBC trying to put that kind of rule in place?
That's not a good rule. It's not good at all. And Sean said it the other day. I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think it's going to work. It's not going to be something that boxing will accept. He said it the other day. Boxing is a family sport. So when you first come into boxing, more than likely it's your grandfather or your father or your uncle or some family member who's got you watching it on TV. It's more than likely your grandfather, your father, your uncle, someone close to your family member who takes you to the gym because they box. You're going to be involved with something that family is involved with. So the best trainers that we have, your Virgil Hunters, your Barry Hunters, your Demetrius Andrades, your Angel Garcias, they're either a father or they are a father figure to the athlete. And the closest that we can be and what we want, the relationship we want with any athlete that we're training, is to become close enough with them that they're confident in us that we are like a father to a son. That's what we strive for. If we have actually have the blood, relative son actually competing, we can't get it no better than that. So I don't think that's going to ever work. That's not going to be something that's going to be acceptable. If that was the case, we would never have Mauricio Suleiman being the president of the WBC, because he came into the WBC because his father was the president.
Good point.
Hey,
Real quick, how did Sean end up breaking his hand? And that's my last question.
He hurt his hand in the Adrian Granados fight, and it was probably the 5th round or so. And if you were to go back and look at my Instagram, fight week of that fight, I believe it would have been Monday after the fight. So Sunday we got home, we flew home. That Monday I was taking him in to see specialists, and we had the x-rays up there. And over periods of time, it just continued, it wouldn't go away. I mean, we had some initial things done to it and looked at it and did a lot of different testing, but eventually he had to go in and have surgery on his hand. And he did not get cleared to actually hit a bag or hit anyone until 2 weeks prior to this fight. And that is well documented because we used the Los Angeles Lakers doctor. And when he was cleared to do that, even in training at that point, I told him I did not want him to punch full force with that hand because we had to save it for fight night. And just by the grace of God, he didn't have any problems at all. I'm very thankful for that.
Hey, Ken. My name's Ron. I met you actually at the Andre Berto and Devin Alexander fight. I know you probably met a lot of people. We had a very small conversation. Now we had an early discussion about how fighters and fights themselves. Well, actually, before I ask the question, let me just actually first congratulate you and your son and everything. What you did was incredible. More importantly, his name is now listed with the other WBC champions like Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah, Corey Spinks, Oscar De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker. So his name is now in the history books with other great fighters like that. So congratulations on that big win. But the question I wanted to ask you, and I know there's probably little room that you can probably talk, but we had big discussions on big fights happening. Obviously, we saw that Errol Spence was coming in the ring. He was talking about wanting to make the fight. Sean Porter responding saying, hey, this is the easiest fight that we can make. Now, there is probably some truth to that, but when two fighters truly do want to fight each other, is it that simple? Can a fight happen like that? Or is there still a lot of variables and politics that can prevent fights like that, like the fights that your son wants to fight, or even making a big fight like with Spence and Porter?
Hey, Ron. No, it's not that easy, but the biggest part of the hurdle is already done. You got two guys who want to fight each other. So that's the biggest thing out the way already. So Errol is willing to discuss a fight with us. We're willing to discuss the fight with him. Danny wasn't willing to discuss a fight with us for over 3 years, point blank and simple. Prior to this, which I've been given information on more than one occasion, that Errol said that he tried to put a fight together with Sean. That's never happened. We've never been contacted. Errol had never said to me before the other night that he wanted to fight Sean. We knew he wanted to fight Sean. That kind of conversation goes on in the media, but no one had ever called me before that and said, Errol Spence wants to try to make a fight with you guys. Can we go to the table and discuss it? Never received that phone call. I had never called anyone on his side and said I wanted to fight Errol Spence. What Sean wanted to do is what he did, and he accomplished it. He fought Danny Garcia. He got the victory, and now he's a WBC champion. What he wants to do now, moving forward, is to fight Errol Spence. The biggest part of the problem is the two individuals wanting to fight each other. So we got that out the way. That part of it is already done. But it's not just as easy to put the rest of it together. And you also got to keep in mind, there's this other guy by the name of Keith Thurman that, still has kind of say so in a lot of things that go on in terms of this being his former championship, and he didn't actually lose it. So, you know, we can discuss it. We want to discuss it. I don't think that it's as hard as it's nowhere near as hard as what we just went through with Danny, or even what we went through with Andre Berto.
Is there a fight you guys rather have?
Mike, hold on. Quick question. With that being said, with you having that situation with Keith Thurman that you brought up, is that something that's going to be more like a sanctioning body issue that we find out? Maybe that you were saying Keith Thurman may have a say. Would this be something that, unfortunately, if Sean and Spence do work out something, and that's what all the fans want to see, Keith Thurman could potentially come in with the WBC and stall this fight out?
Yeah, I know he could do that. We would hope that he wouldn't. We would hope that he would, you know, say, okay, I've been out and these guys are doing their thing now. So, you know, it's only right to let them continue with the momentum that they have going. So we, you know, when Errol got up in the ring the other night and said what he said, Sean said, this is the easiest fight to make because he wants to fight Errol. Errol wants to fight us. We want to fight Errol. I hope I can get a phone call tonight saying, hey, this much money's on the table, so we can get this started. Because right now is prime for Sean, it's prime for Danny, it's prime for Errol. Well, Errol's not quite as old, but it's prime for Danny, it's prime for Keith Thurman and Bud Crawford. All these guys are prime. This is their time. Errol is the guy that just a little bit younger than them, but he's the guy that, you know, has got a really big buzz on his name right now. So we want to fight him.
But
Now, Kenny,
hold on a minute, it's Nestor, obviously. But realistically, Keith can't really interrupt anything. No one is expecting Keith to come straight back to a Sean Porter fight. He's going to need a tune-up.
Realistically, he could do a lot of things that you guys aren't aware of, but we hope that's not the problem. We hope that's not the case.
Ken, Enrique Church here. You met me before. Casual fan.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, brother. Yo, I just want to bask a little bit on the glory that you are experiencing. In the beginning of the fight, you know, people choose sides. They pick Danny. They pick Sean. By the third and fourth round, you know, the scorecards were starting to go towards your way. I did pick Danny in the beginning as a choice of who I wanted to win, but I am a fan of both. And like I tell anybody who calls in, boxing is very whoever you connect to in the matchup culturally. A casual fan can go that way, and hardcore they pick based off resume and all these other things. I did pick Sean Porter as the winner. When the cards were being announced, I was like, Sean Porter has this fight. That's what I wanted to ask you. Did you know you had it in the bag after the third round and later into the fight? You was like, we got this, son. Let's keep it doing. Keep digging. The diamonds are at the end of the cave. We got it. Like, what were your feelings towards like the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th? Did you know you had it in the bag?
No, I think our batteries was out in that cave, man. We was trying to figure it out. I felt that, and I still feel now, Danny's a great fighter.
Me too.
And that we were having a great fight. It was closer than I wanted it to be. I was imploring Sean when I did to put his foot on the gas pedal because I felt that it may not be going our way, and I really wanted him to push it and make Danny fight us, you know. And other than I know there was some big shots to Danny Landy here there that may have swayed judges, whatever, what have you. I felt that Sean was right there where I wanted him to be, and going down the stretch, 10, 11, 12 is where we were going to really take over. So I was confident at that point, but you know, along the way, as you said, early on in that cave, I wasn't that confident. I mean, you know, even the first round, because here's another thing that I look at. when I change Sean's style and he fights a different way, judges expect him to fight a certain way, so they're looking to score for that type of fight. And when they don't see that, they're, for lack of words here, their memory is of him fighting a certain way. If he's not doing that, then they may think he's not being successful.
Right.
So I was concerned with that. So even in the first round, Sean being tactical to somebody, they're going to perceive it, maybe he's scared, or maybe he's tentative, or maybe he's worried about Danny's power, or this punch or that punch. No, what we were actually doing was we were trying to make Danny commit to throwing his punches so that we could counter him.
Right. Just to give you a perspective, the way I was seated, it was like, like Don King once said, the Matador and the Toto. It was one-sided, and then it became a Sean Porter row. Just so you know that people gained the confidence like after the fourth round and strictly were giving it to Sean Porter from where we were seated. And it was pretty close. So that's why I asked that question. Were you confident early in the ring? So early in the fight. So hearing you say no is a great answer, man. I appreciate it.
I told Danny after the fight, and Angel notwithstanding, Angel's, he's just a different kind of dude. I'm gonna be nice about his, call him a different type of dude. He didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. So I try to lock eyes with Danny and genuinely, humbly say to him, man, you fought a great fight. If you had got this victory, I would not have been jumping up and down claiming that we got robbed, because I thought Danny fought a great fight. And I told him that to his face. And his dad didn't want to hear it. He's still screaming at that time while I was trying to talk to Danny. He's still screaming politics, politics. And one of the Watson brothers, I believe it was Marcus, was standing there at the time. And Marcus turned to Angel and he said, listen, he's just trying to be truthful and real on how he feels, Yeah. And Danny said, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then before Danny could turn away, I touched him and I locked eyes with him again. And I said, no, I really need you to understand that I felt you fought a great fight. If you had got this victory, I would not run around claiming that we got robbed. I would have felt that the guy fought a great fight and he got the victory. That's, so I really, I think both of them, they put up a hell of a fight. It was much more tactical than people may have expected it to be. And then down the line, at the end of the deal, Sean really was bringing more pressure than he had been earlier. But I think that was the way it needed to go for us. Unlike most of these most of these guys in the division who don't give rematches, I would give Danny Garcia a rematch. He could get a rematch. We would have said, let's do a rematch, but we had Errol Spence climb up in the ring, which we knew he was coming. But we had Errol Spence climb up in the ring and say, hey, let's make this happen. So we got to definitely visit that. We need to discuss that. We need to talk about how much money is on the table, and we need to see if we can get a date and a venue that everybody can be happy about. And that's the most important thing, to have these guys fight now while they're in their prime.
Ken, real quick, you mentioned rematch and how much money's on the table. Is it possible that the money could be greater versus the Danny Garcia rematch? Would you go that route versus Errol Spence if the money was less?
For some reason, I don't think it would be. I think now that Errol has established himself the way he has, and the following that he has, and everybody buzzing about him being, the top guy in the division.
And Sean's win over Danny Garcia.
I'm sorry?
And Sean's win over Danny Garcia will make it much more of a spectacle of a fight, Errol Spence versus.
Yeah. And you got some other stuff that's going to play its parts in there. Errol, I don't know if you guys caught that last night when he first said anything about the fight. He told about his feelings towards me.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you caught that, but Errol and I have a relationship. Like, Errol used to come to Vegas early in his career. He would call me and say, Coach, can you go to the gym with me? I want to spar Mayweather. Will you work the corner? I was the guy that was in the corner when you sparred Mayweather. That wasn't Derek James. So even prior to that, the relationship we had before that. We've traveled all around the world. I took him to Russia. I was his head coach. We went to Ukraine. I was his head coach. We did the World Championships together. I was his technical coach for that team. I was the technical coach for the 2012 Olympic team that he was on.
That don't mean you know him.
I'm sorry?
That don't mean you know him.
That don't mean I know him?
Like, he could be a totally different person as a fighter right now. He sounded like a totally different person on that podium last night.
Listen. Whether I know him or I don't know him, what I'm saying is that creates other angles to the story for you to talk about. That's something else for you to talk about.
Well, I got something to talk about. I got something to talk about.
You could say I don't know him, but that would be something else you could talk about. You could actually
real quick.
Oh yeah,
while we
that's worked his corner when he lost the fight. I was in his corner when he lost the fight, but maybe you don't want to know about that.
Now I want to talk about the fact that Earl, you're right. His name was buzzing and is buzzing.
It is.
But they was talking about pay-per-view. I don't want to hear none of it. They was talking about pay-per-view with him and Mikey. So are you going to push the issue? Because I seen the press release from Fox Sports. They got a 4-year deal, and it says pay-per-view style fights. Or Rob, could you get the actual verbiage? Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to do Fox pay-per-views. So is Errol Spence and Sean Porter a Fox pay-per-view, or are you going to let it go like, Showtime?
No, it's got to be a Fox pay-per-view.
That's what I want. This is what I want on record right here, so that people could say at ThaBoxingVoice.com spoke to Ken Porter, and Ken Porter said Errol Spence versus Sean Porter for the unification has to be Fox pay-per-view. This is what I want. Help me make headlines here, Ken.
It has to be, because there was this very intelligent man that gave me all this information a few months ago.
Who was that?
And I didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, okay, let me go do a little research on this. And I'm like, oh, snap. And that ain't the word I was using at the time. But basically, it makes absolutely no sense if you can put together a fight with Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence on pay-per-view, and you can't do the same thing with Sean Porter and Errol Spence, then you don't need to call us. We're not in that. We're not going to have that conversation.
And obviously, Sean Porter does better ratings than Mikey Garcia. I mean, that's a proven fact.
Well, I'm very happy to say that, like, Errol stepped up there and said what he said. We're willing to do it. And the only thing that, it's a lot of things. It's a long way from the lip to the cup. There's a lot of things that
it is a long way. It is a long way, but there's some obvious questions that could be answered right now. Mike, you got to wait, because I got so much ammunition. There's some obvious questions to be answered right now. Like, obviously, Eddie Hearn is stirring the pot, but he did leave an offer out there of $8 to $10 million for Mikey versus Earl on DAZN. Now, we all know you guys are not going over there or entertaining Eddie's offer, especially now that Al Heyman has done 2 deals for $60+ million with Showtime and Fox. But are you going to try and get that money matched? Because there still is a guy out there offering $8 to $10 million for Mikey versus Earl. So I'm sure at this point, with Sean winning the WBC title, this being a unification, let's not forget he just bought the rights to the next 2 fights for Usyk, who's, undisputed cruiserweight. I mean, he's just throwing a lot of money around is what I'm saying. So are you going to try and get that match? Like, are we going to see headlines where it's like Earl versus Sean, $10 million a piece? Because we see headlines for Tyson Fury versus Wilder, $20 million a piece. Just saying.
Yeah, you saying it and it sounds good. I do business on this side. I'm not doing business with that guy. I have done business with him. Last year, we worked together on 2 different deals, which had absolutely nothing to do with Sean. But he has never approached me or discussed anything or even mentioned Sean, because I don't think he ever wanted Sean to have another shot at Kell Brooks. So that he's never. I've never had a conversation. I probably had a dozen conversations with Eddie Hearn, and that he's never mentioned Sean Porter's name. It's almost like Sean ain't my son when I'm talking to him. So, or my fighter for that matter. So that's never happened. But if anything legitimate was to happen, like he was legitimately make the offer, I don't mean just someone talking about it. I mean, put something on paper, and that type of offer is out there, then I would have to look at that.
Well, since we're speaking of offers that you would have to look at, you said he would never want you to fight Kell Brook. Now that Sean is the A side with a WBC belt, why doesn't Sean offer Kell Brook the rematch to avenge that loss?
It's not bigger than Errol Spence for us. And Errol Spence is the guy that we want to fight now. He's not bigger, not to me. I think Kell Brook is much less at this point in his career, you know, than Errol. Errol's got to be the hottest name in the division. One of the hottest names in boxing, period. I mean, obviously we got, you know, Wilder and Joshua, the big heavyweights, but you know, he's got to be in there now. One of the top names.
Okay. Well, Mike, I know you're chomping at the bit. And
No. Yeah. So Ken, Ringwalk, Daniel Alvarez here with the Boxing Voice. First of all, Kenny, congratulations to both you and your son on a tremendous fight. Absolutely, hands down, one of the fights of the year. So congratulations on that title victory, and Sean's WBC pickup as well. So my question to you is, you spoke about Sean not being able to use his left hand until 2 weeks ago. Did Sean make it out of that ring yesterday injury-free, healthy, no issues at all?
Yes, he did. Actually, I'm very thankful to that. We took more precaution in the camp, obviously, because of the injury that we had incurred and him having to have surgery. And you could never, I mean, you just can't gauge. I mean, the doctor can look at it and do the x-rays and the MRIs and everything and say, oh, he's good. But you can't gauge it until you actually hit somebody and see how it feels. So we held back from that until fight time. And I'm happy to say, you know, after the fight, the doctors checked him out. They couldn't find anything. I asked him myself, you know, I watched him, and I never saw anything in the fight that told me he was having that kind of problem. I know there may have been a little tentativeness on his behalf to, you know, turn some of them hooks off like he normally would before he had injured it, but that's going to come with time.
Well, if you're saying that we saw maybe 80 to 85% of Sean's fullest potential, I think all of us would be in agreement that we're waiting to see the 100% Sean, because at least in my eyes and most of my counterparts, I felt that was the best overall Sean Porter that we have seen to date. So congratulations on such a great fight and being able to pull it off, and pull it off in the fashion that he was able to. You know, he fought a fight that we typically don't see Sean fight, and he was able to box. He was able to counter against the known counter puncher in Danny Garcia. So he definitely fought a great fight. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. They had a fight. They was rocking out, man. They was throwing some shots. It was great though. It was great, and I appreciate that. I think, again, and the question was asked, but you know, a guy like Kell Brook or a guy like Bud Crawford, those guys aren't in, you know, they're not in our reach. It's not really realistic. But Errol Spence, as he said, hey, we deal with the same people, we deal with the same network, we deal with the same venue. So a lot of the things that would get in the way of these other guys, we don't have to deal with that, you know? We don't have to deal with those problems because they're dealing with the same venue. PBC is now home. I mean, the Barclays is now home to PBC for X amount of fights a year. We're dealing with the same advisor, people that, I don't have to say their name, but same advisor. And the two individuals want to fight each other. Sean wants to fight Errol. Errol wants to fight Sean. So I think it can get done. I'm very hopeful.
And can
awesome, Kenny.
Can you give us your thoughts on the Crawford, just the Crawford situation overall, right? Because like he continues to have an opinion on other welterweights, specifically welterweights on the PBC spectrum. And I'm selling my narrative, as the people like to say, Ness narrative is Crawford is the fighter, which is the boss, the manager, trainer, advisor, everybody works for him. So if he really wanted to fight Errol, Sean, Keith, he could tell his people that's who he wants to fight, and essentially they would make the fight. Am I wrong? Am I like, drinking the Kool-Aid? Is that not how it works? Like if Sean woke up tomorrow and told you, Dad, I want to fight Terence Crawford. He keeps saying he owns this block. I don't care what the people are talking about, Earl. I want to fight the guy that the people think will beat Earl, which is Terence Crawford. What would you tell him?
No, it ain't that easy. We can't get it done that way. This is no knock against any of the fighters, but they're just not in control of. They have no say-so over the venue. They have no say-so over the network. And those are the people, in control, and they have the money. So, we like more like the fighters more like third and fourth in line between networks, venues, advisors. I mean, we're not, Bud can't make that call. He just can't. If he could, we probably see a lot more of that going on, but Sean can't make that call either. I mean, we both have agreed, we're in agreement that we want to fight Errol Spence next. When that happens, we don't know. We would like to see that happen, but it's got to be the network. It's got to be the venue in agreement. And then, the business part of it with the advisor. Hey guys, I want you over here with this person. I want you over there with that person. So all of those things have to come together, and everybody has to be on, the same page to make it happen. And it's just not that easy. So Bud probably can't just make that call. I'm sure he'd love to fight the Errol Spencers and the Keith Thurmans and the Sean Porters and, all of those guys. But he's got to deal with Benavidez because that's the only guy over there. And that's, I wasn't on the show, but I was just coming into the show. And can you break down for me how you're saying, is he the Timothy Bradley now? What did you mean by that? I think I know what you mean, but could you break it down for me?
I'm saying, look, it's not like Timothy Bradley doesn't have a good career, right? And he'll probably get in the Hall of Fame. Timothy has done a lot, especially in his early career. I mean, you cannot knock what he's done. He gave so many fighters an undefeated, so many fighters who were undefeated, he took their O's. Carlos Abreu, Devin Alexander, just dozens, right? But he never fought the guys. They were all on the other side. He got to fight Pacquiao in his prime, and I see why he signed. That first fight was $5 million. The next fight was $8 million. So it made sense for him back then. But there is no more Pacquiao on Top Rank. We just went through the resumes of the champions on Top Rank. They fight guys from Argentina, Colombia. They just find dudes from Ghana or Africa that we've never heard of, and they make them popular. And that's cool because boxing is international. But the guys on the other side of the street, they're fighting each other. They're fighting no names. They're Olympians. It's just a different pool, in my opinion. That's all. I mean, look, Bradley, again, he's great, but he had to take the Ruslan fight. That wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to look like that. But because Bradley had no fighters, he was forced to fight Ruslan. That shaved years off his career. That didn't go as planned. And, you know, I know in some weird way he thanks that fight because that's kind of what made fight fans love him again because they hated him and sent them death threats after the fake Pacquiao win. But fuck that. I'd rather you hate me than have to take a whooping like that for you to love me.
Little unknown fact, Ruslan turned us down twice. Title fights. Little unknown fact.
Yeah, but at 147, he was always at 140. He never really even moved up to 47. You guys were never at 140, so that fight had to be taking place 7 pounds above his natural weight. I would have turned it down too.
It's just a business. Just a business.
So you still ain't give us your thoughts, and that's what we want on this Bud Crawford situation. Like I know you said he can't make it happen, but
I don't think he can make those calls. And the situation that he's in is not going to be the easiest situation for him to get out of. Well, I guess he ain't getting out of it. Didn't he just resign?
Yeah, he just resigned.
You know, everybody got to do what they think is best for them. I'm a Bud Crawford fan. I love to watch Bud fight. I was just with Bud a couple weeks ago here in Las Vegas. And Bud is something else. He came up to Sean. No, he had me call Sean on the FaceTime. And he told Sean, you better fuck him up about Danny. So after that, we got the congratulations from Bud. But yeah, it's a different breed over there. And there's a lot of guys over there, you don't know their names, you can't pronounce their names. That's not something I want to be a part of. I want to fight the guys that are the top guys, and the top guys in this division that are household names.
And what about Earl's opinion of Crawford and Earl feeling that he is better than Crawford and people need to stop comparing him to Crawford?
I don't know anything about that. I haven't been.
Oh, let me play it for you. No problem. No problem. We have it.
The last few weeks, obviously, I was focused on Sean, so I wouldn't even listen to
No, this happened last night. I guess while Sean was taking a shower, they had a little press conference with Errol Spence waiting for you guys to get ready. And this is what Earl said. See if you can hear this.
He got 3 coaches. We don't know who the head coach is. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a way better fighter than Terence Crawford. Who has he fought? The only name fight you fight, Yorkers Game Boy, the guy that he fought. I fought Lamar Peterson, Chris Algieri, Kell Brook. I mean, and how many fights he got? 30-some fights. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's a great fighter, things like that, but you can't put him to me. Like the guy he just fought for the undisputed welterweight, light welterweight champion of the world, Regis Prograis stopped him later than he did. You know what I'm saying? So you got to add it all into conclusion to who you say the top welterweight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff is smoke and mirrors. He got 3 coaches. We don't.
Smoke and mirror. He says Crawford's record is smoke and mirrors. Do you need me to refresh your memory on Crawford's record, Ken?
I just like to hear it anyway.
Oh, perfect. Let me pull this up here. I know right now my co-host Michael Gross, who introduced himself, right now his stomach is churned and he can't wait to hear what you got to say. He's got little butterflies right now. All right, so Crawford is coming into a Jose Benavidez is who he will be fighting. But before that, it was Jeff Horn. And before that, he unified the 140-pound division by defeating Julius Undango. Before that, he defeated the gold medalist from the Dominican Republic, Felix Diaz, who had a very controversial loss to Lamont Peterson, where some people thought he won. And before that, he beat John Molina, who was an Al Heyman fighter at the time and was sent to HBO. Before that, he beat Victor Postal, most known for never getting to fight Danny. Before that, he beat Hank Lundy, who you know well's been in plenty of camps with you. Before that, he beat Canada's own Derry Jean. And before that, he beat formerly known as TMT promoted Thomas Delorme from Puerto Rico and San Thomas. Before that, he beat Raimundo Beltran, who just lost his world title to Jose Pedraza. And before that, Yurokis Gamboa. Before that, he went to the United Kingdom to beat Ricky Burns. And he had 2 fights on HBO versus Andrei Klimov and Alejandro Sanabria. But his debut on HBO was when he decided to step up in weight on 7 days' notice and take on British Prescott at 140 when he was a 130-pounder at the time, and knock him out on HBO. And then that's what sent that whole list of fighters rolling. So, thoughts, my friend?
I think he had a great resume. I really do. I think he's done a lot of great things, and unifying the title is an amazing feat within itself. So, I'm not in agreement with Errol on his record being smoke and mirrors. But I will say this about Errol. I remember this way back in the amateurs. Errol has always been a student. He studies boxing. He was always studying film. He was always looking at film on the computer all the time of all the fighters that were professional boxers when he was an amateur. So whenever he says something like that, he studied his guys. He knows what he's talking about. But it's his opinion.
Well, that means he studied your son.
Of course. Absolutely, he studied my son. Yeah.
But you've equally studied him. So I know you're not going to give us all, but you can definitely afford to give us one of Errol Spence's flaws since you've been in so many camps with him.
He believes in himself too much.
I thought you needed confidence to be a fighter.
Of course you do.
And self-belief.
Of course you do.
So that was not a flaw. That's more like you trying to shake the question.
No.
Or are you saying he's cocky?
It can be a gift and it can be a curse.
Okay, one real quick question that I wanted to ask about the Errol Spence fight. Now, with that fight, you guys will be unifying the titles, and we all know what happened with the IBF thing after the Brook fight. And I heard in previous interviews you say that you guys would happily fight Errol Spence, but you wouldn't want to pay the sanctioning fees for that title. Now, I know becoming a unified champ is very important. So after you guys win that title, would you guys keep it, or would you guys vacate it and let it go to like a mandatory?
Dude, that's I don't even tell you what we just paid for a sanctioning fee. And if we hadn't won the fight.
Tell us. Deontay says he pays $40,000 every time he fights. How much do you pay?
Come on up, man. Come on up. Anyway, I'm not gonna tell you what we just it ain't no 40,000, trust me.
Man, you gotta work out a deal. You know why? That's because Deontay knows he's gonna be knocking people out for a while, so he probably worked out like a dozen percentage fight deal or something.
Well, that's gonna be a problem, man. That's gonna be a real problem. That's gonna be a real problem. See, that's gonna be a real problem because that man's gonna have to look me in my face and tell me why he stripped my kid from being in the top 25 and why he didn't never return my phone call. And it's been 3 goddamn years now. So that's a problem for me. That's a serious problem for me. And you want me to pay your ass again? That's some bullshit right there. So I mean, yeah, that's a problem. We need to be fighting that man, but I don't give a shit about that title. I don't want nothing to do with it. I ain't trying to pay you for something that you're going to strip me from the top 25. Kind of, nah, dude. They want too much money to begin with, and it's a game. When the guy loses the fight, I'm gonna make sure he doesn't get a rematch by dropping him from the top 25, and I won't return the damn phone calls. No, that's a problem. We got a problem there, Errol. We got a problem there. Yeah, we can discuss this. We can put money on the table, but I ain't giving them shit.
Also, in an interview, I heard you say that you really don't give a damn about these belts because of the sanctioning fees. So do you ever see a point in time where Sean Porter can become like maybe a Floyd Mayweather or like a Canelo and be bigger than the belts?
Nah, that ain't happening. Sean don't have that kind of personality. He ain't doing those kind of things, and that I think that's a once in a lifetime or 2 in a lifetime. I mean, I don't think that there's a lot of guys out there that can be put in that position. But yeah, we can definitely fight without putting the belt on the line, because we could have been fighting Adrian Broner for the WBC at 147, but we fought Adrian Broner for the right to beat Adrian Broner, and we didn't have nothing cut from our check. And fighting Danny last night and knowing how much money the WBC received from us and how much they received from Danny, win, lose, or draw. If it had been a draw last night, those guys still get all that money, you know. My belt case in there, you know, where I got my Sean's belts at, it's full. We got 2 belts last night. I got a coach's belt. He got the WBC belt. And we don't have no room for that stuff in here anymore. We, you know, it's going to be nice to talk about years from now and mention that we fought Danny for it and it was a great fight. But, you know, they can keep these belts, man. Give these guys their money and stop ripping them off, because it's horrible how much money they have to pay.
And my very last question. Now we all know that I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna say that we all know. What is Sean Porter's contract or partnership with Showtime like? Is he able to go to other networks and fight, or is he strictly a Showtime Fox fighter?
No, he doesn't have a contract with Showtime. He can go wherever he wants to go. He can go to
so if
he could go to any promoter, he could go to any entity that has anything to do with boxing in the United States or any other countries. There's nothing binding him to anybody, nothing at all.
Ken, you ain't going nowhere.
We may not be going nowhere, but he asked the question, so I answered it.
You know how
so are you guys open to other options from other networks?
Ken ain't crossing Al, man. You don't cross Al.
There's at least one big name out there that called me while I'm in the airport today, wanting to know if we could have a meeting this week. And that's nice. It's nice to.
Well, we know who that is. We know who that is. Since you said Eddie never called you, it's obviously Bob, because Oscar, last time I checked, he ain't big no more. So
you're a smart guy.
Well, I mean, I ain't get this far this quick for no reason. I mean, so when we going to this meeting and where's happening at?
It ain't been that quick. You've been putting in work, man.
Yeah, but it ain't been as many years as my man Dan and none of them.
Yeah, but I mean, no, well, yeah. So yeah, there are some people making calls, and it's nice to be called, but we want to fight Errol Spence, so there's really no consideration somebody to have to top that kind of situation.
Damn, and so that means that Bob Arum is actively trying to get his welterweight champion fights. Look at little Mike over there happy. Yo, Ken didn't confirm that it's Bob he's gonna meet with.
It's not even that, bro. I'm a fan of good fights. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the best fight the best. And I understand. I understand from the business perspective of Terence Crawford. You got to do what's best for you. Just like Sean Porter got to do what's best for him. And the Errol Spence fight is probably the best fight for Sean Porter at this point in time.
Like Errol on pay-per-view. I'm proud of Errol, man. They doing his thing. But all of these guys, man, they're really doing their thing. And I think
but Ken,
go ahead.
Terrence is on ESPN. He got paid $3 million to beat up Jeff Horn. So I mean, I'm sure ESPN could come up with another $3 million for Sean.
You said $6 million?
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have with that. I don't believe that making that kind of move makes sense, because you go over there, I'm just speaking hypothetically, you go over there, and what you got to do to get to Terrence? You got to go through some guy you never heard of from another country. Then you got to go through some other guy that you never heard of from another country. And depending upon what happens, you may or may not get the opportunity to fight him. So it wouldn't be something that I would do. Just, it doesn't work for me.
I'm trying to tell Mike, you see, Mike, this is a trainer that knows the game. He's saying that Bob would set him up with 2 Nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Similar to Andres Klimov and Alejandro Sanabria. You know, you starting to get it now.
That's one of the main reasons Regis Prograde didn't go over there and fight Jose Ramirez, because they wanted him to fight somebody in the interim, then build the fight. So I know this, bro.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. He just chooses to ignore it when it comes to Bud. All right, got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, quick question.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I actually got one more for you. How long you gonna wait on Espinoza, Heyman Boxing LLC, Barclay Center to give you a date for Sean? Because you usually like to keep Sean active. He's not like these other guys that sit around waiting on people. Now he's a champ too. Like, I'm not expecting you to be treated like the B-side, even though if Earl thinks Crawford's the B-side in his fight, I'm sure he thinks Sean's the B-side in this fight.
I would like to see Sean fighting late spring, early summer. I like to see him in an official camp, officially in camp. I don't just mean cross-training and staying in shape. I mean officially in a camp, working on strategy for the person that we know who that actual opponent is going to be. I like to see him in there.
That's almost 7, 8, 9 months, Ken.
From now.
Yeah.
April.
Is he still favoring the left hand?
You sure he ain't get hurt? That's 9 months from now. Either 7 or 9 would be April, early June or spring is either April or June.
May.
That's 9 months from right now.
Well, I'm considering that the next 30 days, there's nothing going on with him. So we're looking at getting back, just working out in November. September to October, there will be nothing going on with him. His birthday is October 20th. He's going to be in Boston supporting his buddy, Demetrius. So I don't expect him to get started until November. And November and December, he should be strong and ready to go. But again, you got to consider what you guys don't. You got to consider the negotiation of a fight. That's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm not talking about my part of the negotiation. It's not going to happen overnight.
We always get big fights in the January, Ken. And Earl's fought in January. And if you're saying December, November, you're ready, then you're ready to go January. Plus, you got a new deal on 2 networks with multiple dates that need to be filled.
No, I'm not doing that. That's not going to happen.
What's not going to happen? January?
Yeah, he's not going to fight in January.
But you just said he's ready in November, December.
I said ready to start. From this point right now, he's got 30 days before I'm asking him to report back, which is going to put you at the end of October. His birthday is October the 20th.
Mine 29th.
20th. So I know he's not going to be doing anything because he's going to Boston to be with Demetrius. So I know my kid. He's looking at probably coming back November 1st. November 1st is probably a reasonable time for him to come back and start training. So we wouldn't be turning right around fighting in January. And again, the negotiation of a fight, not talking about what we would do, what the venue and what the network is going to say, and the dates that they have has to be consistent with what they want to do. And it's got to be consistent with who they want us to fight.
I'm just pulling up Earl's record here to see when he last fought and what makes sense. He fought in June. So if you're looking at April or June, that's him having to wait a whole year out of the ring or taking a tune-up. And he already's coming off of a Campos. So what do you expect to happen for Earl in the meantime? Because you have your plan. You know, you are in charge of Sean's career.
Every individual is different, and Errol is got to make decisions based on what's best for him. If he's choosing to fight us, it ain't gonna happen in January or February. That's not gonna happen. Now, if the money came and the negotiation was done and they called me up and said, hey guys, here's what it looks like. Do you want to take it? I would say to Sean, hey, look, here's what it looks like. We got 90 days, let's go. We'll be fighting in March. But it's a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen. And I just don't get those kind of phone calls. I get a phone call like I just got on a Danny Garcia fight. Hey, where you guys at? We're over here in California at the Mikey Garcia fight. That's on a Saturday night. Can you guys fly over on Monday for a press conference to announce you and Danny Garcia fight? That's how it came to us, dude. That's how it came. It didn't come, we knew 3 months before that or 4 months before that, or even 2 months before that. We were at the Mikey Garcia fight. I received a message saying, hey, can you guys make a press conference on Monday? This is a Saturday, which means we fly back home on Sunday to Vegas, which it wasn't me. Sean was flying back home to Vegas. I was driving back. I drove back to Vegas on Sunday. I got home 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock that afternoon, I was on a plane on my way to New York. That's how it came to us. So it never comes like you want it to come or like you think it might be coming. We're not going to get that call 3-4 months in advance. We're going to get that call 6 to 8 weeks saying, hey, this is the date, here's the venue, this is the money, let's go.
Now, does that ever like get old? Because we know Eddie Hearn, his whole motto, like with signing these U.S. fighters, is to give them a contract, give them dates, and give them venues of when they are fighting. Does that like entice you guys at any to like go? Well, not go over there, but like have a conversation with him and like see like the dates he has planned for you guys, if he has anything planned.
Guys might say that. They're not doing that. They put that information out. They're not doing that. That's not how boxing works. Boxing gonna work the way they want it to work, and whatever they feel is best for them and their own agendas. It ain't gonna never stick to no damn calendar. It ain't gonna happen. You can consider a month that you see a guy fighting a lot, or a month that's open for the networks because football isn't going on, or basketball isn't going on, or baseball isn't going on. Well, you could consider that and look at that. But the reality situation is it's gonna be whatever they decide to be.
Well. These guys.
That was my last question.
You ran out of questions for the Ken man.
Okay, I got a quick question. I feel like there's this big agenda of legacy as well as big money fights. Now, Manny Pacquiao's out there. I know this is just kind of one of those wild questions, but you know, is Manny Pacquiao something by any chance, if he was interested, a big money fight? Does that interest you guys? Would you take that as a preference over Spence? If that came in fruition,
I think Pacquiao's a big money fight at this point. He only paid Matisse $2 million, and it took him like 2 weeks before the fight to finish paying it.
No, I wouldn't consider that. I wouldn't consider Manny. It's not what it once was. And again, I think the top name to fight in the division is Errol Spence, and I don't think anybody is going to surpass that.
Now you spoke on you have a plan for Sean about his career and like when he should retire, and Sean doesn't like necessarily know your plan, but can you like share some insight to how many more fights you see Sean fighting before he's all said and done?
He came out of last night's fight that I know of pretty much unscathed. There was no cuts, no bleeding, nothing that we know anything about. The doctors didn't have to shut him down. They're asking him not to work out for a week. That's just a precautionary that they give everybody, 7 days. So we got through this one, and we can go ahead and get ready for the next one. And you just got to gauge the individual, the athlete, the boxer. You got to gauge him by what's going on in the camps and what's going on fight night, how much he's willing to put into the camps, how much he's willing to train, how hard he's willing to go at this point in his life, if he can get these things done with the other things he's got going on in his life. And for Sean now, he's got a little son, he's got a girl, he wants to spend time with him. So my thing is, go have all the fun you want to have after this fight. do all the things you want to do. Go to Disney World and anything else, picnics and everything else. Watch the little guys start to learn how to walk and all that. Enjoy yourself. And when it's time to go to work, there's 52 weeks in a year. I'm going to ask you to give me 8. 8 of those 52. And that's going to leave you
16, really, 16, right? And sometimes 20, because it's 2 fights a year, 8-week training camp, sometimes 10.
Okay, well, you understand what I'm trying to say. I break it down for him that way so that he can basically, at this point, he's fighting once. He ain't fighting twice a year at this point. So I break it down for him that way so he can.
What? I think you broke up. You say he's fighting once?
He's fighting once. What did we just saw? We just saw one fight in the last year. That's what we saw. What, 10 months?
Oh, so you counting calendar months. You're not calling like the year.
Not the year. From the time he. So if we were to go from the last time he had a fight till now.
Oh shit, yeah. Granada, he didn't fight. Damn.
We're looking at about 10 months, right?
Wow, he wasn't in the ring since 2017 of November?
Yeah.
Yep, against Granados. And Ken, one thing that I've seen on Jim Lambley's the fight game was a guy was reporting about all these athletic commissions are going to start having these next day weigh-ins to make sure fighters aren't ballooning up and weight too much. Have you heard anything about that?
The IBF does it, not a problem for us. We did it for them, but I don't want to deal with them.
No. What I'm saying is the start of 2019 is going to be regulated nationwide.
Go ahead.
I'm saying in 2019, the whole thing is going to be regulated nationwide to where fighters are not weight cutting or weight billowing. It's really set up for the UFC, but it's going to take effect in all athletic commissions. It was on the fight game with Jim Lampley overtime.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a problem for us. We did it for a number of fights. So Sean is usually the next day about 8 pounds up. So it's not a problem. We've done it. We can do it. Not a problem.
So Ken, so you don't even want to tune up this year?
No, that was a good fight, and we just need to work from there.
So does that work itself out money wise? Because I'm assuming it's like a job. If you go to work twice in the year, you make more money that year.
Well, it depends on we can get technical, and I can get my accountant a call and say tell you what he thinks, but no, it depends on the date and putting the fight together. I want to see him fight Errol, and I like to see it by spring, sometimes spring or early summer.
So since you know so much about the venues being, part of the negotiations, where are you expecting it to happen since, the venues have so many deals with, these fights taking place? Is it back in the Barclay?
You see, I'm quite sure you saw that the Barclays announced that they did an exclusive with PBC.
So no more Vegas fights. That works for me because Vegas kind of sucks in terms of flights.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, I really love the Barclays. I really love the energy in New York. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like going to Boston. I've never been to Boston. Oh,
so there's a deal in Boston. Okay.
No, I'm going there for Demetrius's fight.
Okay. Wow, so you're going to show up on that. I might have to fucking go to that shit now. Because I can instigate Eddie. I could get Eddie and, let me shut up for one of these other guys steal my plan.
Kenny, will you be going to the Canelo and Triple G fight next weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll be in Vegas, right, Ken?
Yeah, I'll be.
Because I've been sent you a text about the show we're doing with Chivas Regal,
You invited me to a show?
I sure did. Let me see here on my text. It says...
No, I saw it.
July 26th. I sent you a text telling you what we would be doing.
Show it.
It's gonna be at Beer House. You guys, the same place. You guys actually went to the first one we did for Canelo Triple G.
I'll be there.
Perfect.
Sean Porter. I'll get Sean Porter. I know Sean Porter. I'll ask him. We real cool. We'll probably come.
Make sure you bring your trainer's belt.
Okay.
No, seriously, you should definitely bring it. We're gonna have a 3-camera live stream. It's a real big deal. It'll be a big stage, and there'll be plenty of people to take pictures. So it would be great. So, make your outfit look better. Anyway, Ken, you're using social media these days, so you could give it to our listeners so they can follow you on Instagram.
Porter High Performance, PORTERHY -performance. That's the Instagram, and then the Facebook is Kenny Porter. There's 2 Kenny Porters over there. The other one is my son who used to box, so you may see him as well. But everything else is Showtime Sean P. Instagram.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Porter.
And Twitter. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you, Ness.
For sure, man. Can't wait. We land Thursday. The whole crew moving on up in the world. So we'll be there for sure. I'll shoot you a text. Hopefully, I'm unblocked and maybe I could stop by the gym. I was in Vegas the other day, but you guys weren't there. But I went by the gym, but it was closed.
Yeah. It's private, so it's only open when Sean is training or someone else I'm working with is training. So this week, actually, Barry Hunter's coming to town on Tuesday. He'll be working there. I'll be opening it up for him. And then he's got
who's Barry working with? Who's Barry working with? With Warren? Because I hear Warren's in another title shot.
Who's Warren?
Rashi?
No, it's going to be French Sean Cruz.
Never heard of him. So, Ken, what do you know about this Ife
it's a girl. French Sean is a girl.
Oh.
She fought Clarissa.
Oh, okay. You know anything about FA since you are big into the amateurs? Ajaba, how do you pronounce his name?
F.A. Ajagba.
Ajagba, he's trained by Ronnie Shields.
The one who the guy walked out on.
The one that the guy walked out on, Curtis Harper, jumped out the ring?
I don't know anything about the guy.
Damn. I was hoping you give me a little, tidbits on him. You call him the Nightmare. They call him the Nigerian Nightmare.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Come on, Ken. Come on. While Sean is vacationing for the next month and some change, you gotta check out the rest of boxing. Lots happening these days. Heavyweight division is booming.
No, I seen the guy on the little segment where the guy walked out of the ring, and I think I might have seen one of the guys knockouts, but I don't know anything about him from the amateur.
Oh, okay. Well, Ken,
my last big amateur tournament was the World Championships 2012. And we had Joshua, we had Ramirez, Ramirez fought Lomachenko. I was actually in that corner. We had I think Joshua was there. We had Errol Spence there, Rashid Warren. So that was my last big amateur tournament.
Yo, I got my man Fresh BX begging me to ask you to break down Saunders, but you're going all the way to Boston. It's obviously picking the Andre. This guy's,
Yeah. I've known Demetrius since he's 14, and I expect him to beat Billy Joe.
Is he going to beat the brakes off of him, or is he just going to beat him?
I don't think he's going to beat the brakes off of him. I think he's definitely going to beat him.
Billy Joe's cocky, man. I'm not going to let you go at all until you get bored.
I was with Billy Joe in the UK every day for about 10 days.
I'm actually going to let you. All right. So I don't want to keep you, Ken. We got a lot of calls we got to get to. But damn, I had so much I wanted to ask you. Yeah, we got, when I see you in Vegas, we got to talk the Wilder Billy Joe Saunders chicken story for sure. We got to see what you think about that one. But, man, thanks again for coming on the show. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Porter, trainer of Sean Showtime, WBC champion Porter. Let me go to